Welcome back to another episode of Made in Ohio, a prep baseball podcast for episode 3. We are talking spring classics, team rankings updates, some updates to our summer schedule, and around the state updates. Fellas, I'm Kyle Weldon. I'm joined by Dylan Hefflinger and Pete Whitmer. Dudes, what's up?
What's going on, Kyle? How you doing?
Another busy week. Finally getting some good weather. Excited to see some baseball and not freeze. Hopefully not get rained on either. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Finally, some sunshine and baseball weather here in the great state of Ohio.
How were the spring classics you guys were at this weekend?
Yeah, mine was a pretty good one. I only had 2 games because of the weather. So unfortunately didn't get to see West Jesuit versus Centerville, which would have been a very, very good one for sure. But got to see Olentangy Orange versus Saline, Michigan, one of the top teams in Michigan, and also Olentangy Berlin versus Massillon Jackson. The first game of the day, Olentangy Orange and Saline, was a true instant classic that didn't really end how anybody would have wanted it, to be honest with you. Crazy call at third with a blocked third, not allowing him to come home, I believe would be the call. I don't know if anyone truly agrees with it, but Olentangy Orange got the walk-off win with that. But either way, 2 outstanding teams, talent-wise and all that, and 2 teams that should have a chance to make a run come tournament time in their respective states for sure. And then in game 2, Olentangy Berlin versus Massillon Jackson. Kyle, I don't know if you can pull that clip up from Olentangy Berlin's contest. Mason Quatman, a 2026 catcher, hit a 2-run bomb late in the game to put them up 4-2, which Berlin held on for the win against an extremely talented Massillon Jackson team. Here's a little bit of the celebration. Here's the hit coming up. Wind was blowing out to left, but I don't know if he might have needed it. But either way, it went over the fence and would have been a RBI double either way. But 2-run bomb to put your team up 4-2. Can't really ask for much more at a high school classic for a kid. So shout out to him. But on the other side, Kenyon Oaks, wow, he was impressive on the bump. He's an athletic 2-way that looks the part on the mound and at the plate, and believe in center field as well. Certainly a name to know. Multiple pitches that he threw well. Nasty slider, nasty changeup, good fastball explodes out of the hand. Certainly a fun one, that's for sure. Just look at the movement on all of his pitches. Just move in, out, up, down. Backdoor
We saw
slider right
Kenyon
there.
at Northern Ohio preseason All-State, I believe. He's a
Yep.
freak athlete. Like his vertical is crazy too. He can run. Everything about him is just really toolsy.
Yeah, I believe it was a 6'6" runner as well. I mean, just true athlete. He had a couple plays where he hopped off the mound on a bunt or, check swing and all that, making 2 good plays, looking like a true athlete out there on the mound. So he's certainly a fun one. I was impressed. That was my first time seeing him live in game, and he was certainly looked the part. So 2 outstanding games for my high school classic. How about you guys down in Chillicothe?
Pete, what'd you think?
Good day of baseball, man. Got all 4 in. Had battled the weather there a little bit at the end, but to get 4 games in, they were all pretty competitive. First was Ironton and Chaminade. We've had a good look at Chaminade, but to see Ironton kind of playing up a division there, maybe or 2 divisions, really competed for the first 5 innings. Just really a good team to see, like good quality baseball team, and we don't always get to see those teams, 2.5 hours away down on the river. So to see that is really fun. But yeah, just overall good day of baseball. Ended it kind of with a big one too, in a 4-2 ball games, kind of wild. Really had a good pitching duel. They both just were nervy to start the game. And Lantizer from Pick Central, and then Powers from CHCA. But again, two quality arms, and I'll have a video out later today too on Powers. But I thought it was a good pitcher, good ability to mix pitches, and another quality game there. Like I said, on the day down in Chillicothe. Any day you're at the VA for 4 of them, it's a quality day. Especially they got the new turf down. Place looks great. So
yeah, shout out to the Paints, man. That new turf looks fantastic. They're still working on the outfield wall. They had a snow fence up, but once that gets done, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, it's going to look really, really nice.
Yep.
Nice to see the VA get some love, get a little makeover. I liked watching Ironton. Yeah, a really fundamental team and play hard. Kind of a tall task with CJ. They've got so much talent scattered around the field, but I enjoyed watching them. I thought the other games I saw too were really good. Who was the second game there? Was it Talmadge?
Also, I want to make a correction. CHCA, it was Daniels, not Powers. I mixed it up because they mixed their lineup. It was Gus Daniels. 2026, yeah, because their original lineup had gotten changed. I forgot about that. Gus Daniels, though. Really good arm from CHCA, 2026, mid-80s. 3 pitches, all for strikes.
Second game was a tight one, 2-1. I think Talmadge won that one.
Talmadge over Olentangy in that one. Yeah.
Talmadge, sorry. Yep, and Olentangy. That was a good one.
Another fundamental team in Talmadge. They do the little things, play quality baseball.
Yeah, Talmadge and head coach Kenny Lynn, they love being in our high school classics. He asked me to be in a classic every single year, and he asked me to put him in a different one. He wants his teams to experience the entire state all year or each year, and they've been in a high school classic each year, and they've been up in Defiance, down in Chillicothe, and who knows where we will put them next year. I believe they're also undefeated in our high school classics, if I have that correct. So.
This was the sequence that led to Olentangy's only run of the game. Rocco Bucci hit a ground rule double. Then I believe they had a walk. So it was first and second, bunted them over, and then a sac fly.
I'm going to guess that Rocco would have got a triple on that one.
Yeah, he was moving.
Pretty speedy.
Oh yeah, if the big tall wooden fence was still there.
Yeah, nice sac bunt. So they had runners second and third, 1 out. A nice RBI sac fly there.
Fundamental baseball right there.
All right, let's take a look ahead here. Take a peek at. Get that off of there. We've got some spring classics coming up this weekend. Dylan, you're going to be at Defiance for this one. Take us through these matchups.
Yeah, I'll be at this one. We got Whitmer having a little down year this year, but still some talent on the squad. Going up against Galleon. Galleon's got 2 senior future games alums for us, and Braxton Prosser and Max Albert. Prosser going to Youngstown State, Albert going to Ashland. Galleon is ranked, I don't remember exactly, but I believe they're ranked 8th in Division 4. They were 8-2 as of Monday morning, so having a great year so far. So looking forward to seeing what they've got. In game 2, we got the host Defiance versus a true perennial power in Michigan as well as the nation, Orchard Lake St. Mary's. A few years ago, I believe they had an 84-game win streak going. They won a national title. Just an outstanding program. Right now, they're ranked number 1 in Michigan's Division 2 power rankings. Defiance right now is undefeated and ranked number 2 in Ohio's D3 rankings. So that should be a fun matchup. I don't know who exactly is throwing for either team, but Orchard Lake has, I believe, 3 or 4 90+ mile per hour arms, along with, a stable of 85+ arms, I'm sure. They're actually coming down for more games than just these 2. They're also coming down on Thursday to face Anthony Wayne, which should be an outstanding contest. We should be at that one. And then they're also facing Ottawa Hills on Friday. So they're facing 4 teams in Ohio that are all ranked. I believe Perrysburg would be the lowest ranked team at 12 in Division 1. So Orchard Lake has going to be facing 4 solid teams in Ohio this week, and we'll see what they do. Spence is thinking that Spence, our guy up in Michigan, feels that they're going to be going 4-0. That's what he let me know, and so we will see. Should be 4 good games for him though. In the last game, we got Northview versus Lancaster. Northview is having an all right season. We saw them in a high school classic earlier this year and saw them in a few other games as well. They're going up against Lancaster, who we have not seen so far this year, but they're ranked 15th in Division I and having an outstanding season. So looking forward to seeing what they have.
That should be a good one. Pete and I will be up at Massillon. Bunch of good matchups here. Excited to see the University School and Medina game. That'll be a good matchup.
Yeah,
University
good one.
School's got some good talent. Kinston versus Stowe Monroe Falls will be the second game. Dylan, I don't know too much about those teams. Do you have anything on them in front of you? Or
Kinston, in years past, has been a 17 to 25 game winning team each year. Unfortunately, they're not having their greatest year this year. I believe they're 1-8 or something like that. Unfortunately, so they're not having the greatest year. Coach DeBoard at Stowe. Let me see what their record is exactly. Stowe. They're right around 500 on the year. So it's not the greatest matchup when it comes to records wise, but in years past they've had some talent. So looking to see what they've got this year.
Game 3, we're gonna have St. Ed's versus New Albany, and then the last game, Massillon Jackson versus Mayfield. Excited to see St. Ed's. They got a couple position guys that we need to get a good look at that we have not seen yet, or at least I haven't seen in game. Jackson, we've seen a number of times. This will be another out-of-conference matchup, so not sure what we'll see on the mound, depending on what their conference schedule looks like. Massillon Jackson, I thought, was a little underwhelming offensively. They put together some good at-bats in the games that I've seen, but not the traditional like firepower and thump that they've had on the mound. They've got some guys like they're 1 and 2 can really compete. Interested to see what happens when you get into that 4 and 5 part of the pen, but they definitely have enough to make a run in the postseason.
Well, if they bring out Kenyon Oates out of the bullpen, I'm a fan of it. So
yeah. Which I would assume is they're using as their 3.
Honestly, don't know. When talking to one of their fans, I don't believe he has had as many innings as they would have hoped. Is the way that I got it from one of their fans.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you have the arms that they have, it's going to be tough as a 3, 4, or 5 or whatever Kenyon is for that team to get a lot of innings because the 1 and 2 are lights out mostly every time they go out there. So.
And they've got him playing. I don't know if he's playing center field or right field.
Yeah. I believe he's at center, from what I was told, and he's looking the part out there. And when you're that good defensively, even if he might be the 3 arm, they might move him down to the 4 or 5 arm just to allow him to stay in center and keep that defense.
Just manage the workload a little bit on the arm too.
Yeah, that as well for sure. To quickly go back to Kinston and Stowe, I just wanted to give them some love. But Lucas Kaltenbach for Kinston would definitely be a name to think about when you guys are there. And then 2027 for Stowe that I liked last year a little bit at the high school classic that I saw at Walpock was Kyle Boozer. He is a 2-way, half decent arm.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about Kyle Boozer, but I haven't actually ever seen him in person. So,
yeah,
nice.
he looked pretty good last year as a freshman, and that was early on. That was either the first or second weekend of the season. So he was a true freshman when I saw him as well. So
St. Ed's has some guys, obviously Grant Lashukka, Langston Lucas, left-handed bat that they've got there. That's pretty interesting. Behind the plate, or am I thinking is Camden Fuhr at St. Ed's or St. Ignatius? The 26 catcher. 2-3.
Good question. St. Ed's. Who'd you say?
Camden Fuhrer.
That would be St. Ed's. So yeah,
Yep.
St. Ed's has Grant Lashuka, Jack Laux, Cam Fuhrer is 326s they definitely take a look at.
Yeah, Cam's had a big winter. I received a number of phone calls about him this spring, so I'm excited to see it in person, in game, behind the plate there. All right, let's move on here to team rankings. This week we're going to do it a little bit differently. Instead of just looking at the Power 25, we're actually going to go through each of the divisional updates one by one here. Dylan, if you've got any comments or notes on some of the movement as we go, let us know. But we'll get right into it.
I forgot we're starting at Division 7, so scrolling down there. Division 7, movement-wise, Calvert moves up from 3-1. Kalida having a great start to the season. Shout out to a kid named Bubba Smith, who just set the record for most stolen bases at Kalida. So I don't remember the exact number. Sorry for that, but shout out to him for getting it done all 4 years on varsity.
Kalida was also that town that I raved about last year that I stopped in on my way home from Defiance that had incredible smoked chicken wings at a place called Smokey's Bar and Grill. Literally right across the street from the baseball field.
Love that.
With the hospitality to match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the people next to me bought my meal. It was awesome. Yeah, that's a cool little town.
Yeah, Kalida, I have not gotten. It's literally 20 minutes from my house. I have not gotten out to see them yet, but I am hoping to. They actually have one of the top baseball fields in all of Northwest Ohio and maybe even the state for when it comes to high school fields. So
they got covered bleachers and stuff, right?
Yes,
it's like a nice
full stadium grandstand behind home. Turf got put in, I believe, last year. Or maybe it was this year it got put in. But yeah, either way, it's a true legit high school field for sure. Nice stands, and obviously the playing surface is up to par now. So I will get out to see Kalida at some point. Possibly next week. They play against Columbus Grove, who I believe is 8-2 or something like that. So that should be a good one, and I hopefully go out there and see them. Minster moved down from 1 to 3. And not much other movement. Basically, the 10 teams that were ranked in the top 10 last year are all in it again, but just moved around. Some talented teams overall, so be interesting to see what happens in Division 7. Calvert, we did just see Blake Coleman is their number 1 arm, a mid-80s guy. He's got a brother, I believe, I'm guessing, same last name, and his brother is a freshman, and I believe it was 80 to 83 on the bump. We just saw him earlier this week. So Calvert has arms for this year and arms for the future. So it's certainly a lower division team to keep an eye on. When it comes to Division 6, we have you can talk about it, Pete. Highland. Give me your thoughts. Are they the best lower division team when it comes to D4 through D7? We got some tough ones in there, but from what you told me,
4 through 7 would be there's certainly an argument, but you get much lower than that. The Highland just has a ton of depth, ton of hitters. I mean, they got multiple 90-plus arms, one from the left side. It's just a really good baseball team with a ton of depth. I was actually joking. Me and Weldy were joking with the coaches in the dugout before, and I was like, "You guys are in Canal more than the Rubber Ducks are." And he had to think about back to who they played and what. He couldn't even remember the Final Four matchups from the previous 2 years. Just point is, they win a lot. They win a lot of ball games. They have a ton of depth. Yeah, really good baseball team.
Yeah, they were really well coached.
Yeah.
And that was a fun game to watch between them and Lake Center Christian. A little bit quiet with the bats for Lake Center, but Highland's just really fundamental, and they've got some talent too. Like just hitter after hitter. The first four or five guys in their lineup were
Yeah.
they could beat you.
And a ton of left-handed hitters. They're
Yes,
good.
very left-handed.
Did they have any Yoders on the team by chance, Pete?
A couple, not as many as years past.
I think that's probably why I was
some Manigolds or Monogolds. That was a new one.
right.
Good little hitter.
Yeah, I think that's why I was a little down on them to start the year, because they didn't have 4 or 5 Yoders. It might be just 2 this year. So maybe that was the reason that I was dumbly a little bit down on them for whatever reason. But yeah, you guys watched Highland versus Lake Center Christian earlier this week or last week, and unfortunately Nathan Bryant was not on the bump for Lake Center Christian, so we are all hoping for a tournament matchup of Lake Center Christian versus Highland, with either of Highland's arms on the bump against Nathan Bryant. We will certainly have someone out at that contest if that game gets played come tournament time.
Yeah, and I mean, even with Brian not on the mound, you can see why they're 11-2. I mean, it's still a good baseball team, right? Like they still had competitive ABs. They got it close. They got the tying run up to the plate in the 7th. I mean, yeah. So you can see even with that, but yeah, I mean, obviously you had Brian on the mound, and you got a pretty good dynamic there.
Love that. Some other movement here in Division 6. A team down the road from me, Sherwood Fairview. Undefeated. They were undefeated. They just got their first loss yesterday in the game that I was at. A solid squad that's going into the year, I assumed that they were going to be a Division 5 team. They're in Division 6 and playing really well. Very fundamentally sound, bunt, run, hit and run, all that type of stuff. They like to put the ball in play and make things happen. Beyond them, Mechanicsburg's moved up, still undefeated. Kirtland's moved up, still undefeated. Same with Caldwell. So a lot of solid squads here in Division 6. So
Are we going to get some texts from Toronto and Mechanicsburg asking if you can go attend more Fairview games if you saw their first loss? Are some saying that you're Fairview's bad luck charm?
It could be. Well, if that's the case, I probably shouldn't go to the next Defiance game since they're undefeated if I'm a bad luck charm. I do have a couple. Probably about 3 or 4 teams that were undefeated this year that I went and saw that I gave them the first loss. So I could certainly be Fairview's bad luck
Dylan
charm.
Hefflinger, the Reaper.
There might be a business in there, though.
That's funny.
That's funny. I know Coach Singer loves me over there at Fairview, so he knows I'm not the bad luck charm. So shout out to Coach Singer and the boys at Fairview. So a lot of hospitality there as well. Their concession stand, normally they don't give media members or anybody like that, at any high school place, any love or anything like that. But they came up and asked if I wanted something to eat and a drink for free and all that. So another shout out to Fairview. So even though I gave you guys the first loss yesterday, I might be back to see you later this spring. So yeah, solid teams in Division 6, but let's move on to D5, fellas. All right, back up to D5. We got Waynedale holding it down. I mean, what else is there to say about Waynedale? I mean, absolute, one of the perennial powers in the state, regardless of the division. Undefeated still. I mean, just doing their thing. If there's a team that we expect to be at Canal this year, Waynedale might be that team that we expect more than any. So shout out to them. 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 all stay the same. Ottawa Hills, Milan Edison, and Coldwater. All 4 of those teams extremely talented. All 4 of those teams could definitely make a run. St. Clairsville, I personally don't know too much about. Down in southeast Ohio, right by West Virginia. So that would be about a 4-hour drive for me. So don't personally know too much about them, but 9-1 on the year, went 5-0 last week. Bumped them up from 14th to all the way to 5th. So shout out to them. if anybody from St. Clairsville is listening, feel free to shoot me an email with some information on your guys, and I will give you guys a shout out next week.
I think, isn't that where Coach Alexander's from? Grove City?
Certainly could be.
I think it is. Down on the river, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where he's from. I believe they scrimmaged up here in Columbus earlier this spring.
Okay. Gotcha. Love that. Well, Coach
Yeah,
Alexander.
we'll have to get eyes on them. It's good
Yeah,
baseball
for sure.
down there.
Yeah. Southeast Ohio is unfortunately a place that we don't have many interns and don't get out there too much, but there's obviously lots of talent out there. And we did a high school classic there a few years back, and I remember, were you there, Pete, for that one or no?
No, but I remember Jordan and Steph were there.
Oh, Jordan and Steph. I know both of them were raving about, the ambiance and the crowds and all that stuff were just electric throughout the day. So shout out to Southeast Ohio baseball for sure. Beyond that, we got Eastwood staying strong at 6. Ironton, we've already talked about them, moved up from 11 to 7. Oak Harbor, our guy Phil O'Shea's alma mater, staying steady at 8. Tenora, who's the team that beat Fairview yesterday, very good team. Can swing at 1 through 9, have a stable of arms that are all upper 70s, low 80s type arms that can get it done at the D5 level. So definitely a team that can make a run. And then rounding out the top 10 is Keystone, who went 4-0 last week and are 8-1 on the season.
I was distracted trying to figure out who plays for St. Clairsville. They've got a couple dudes, man.
Yeah, they've got a couple. Yeah,
The Saunders kid going to Ashland.
There you go. All right.
6'3", 200-pound righty up to 89 with us. When was that? That would have been in June of last year.
Yeah, that'll June of last year. Yeah, that'll definitely play. So St. Clairsville could definitely have a 90-mile-per-hour arm. So definitely any division that works, let alone in the Division 5 realm, that'll definitely do. So shout out to St. Clairsville and Mr. Saunders. We moved to Division 4. We got Pete's Boys there at number 1 still. At least from my knowledge, there's only 2 undefeated teams in Division 4. Manor Lake Catholic and Jonathan Alder. If I'm missing one, feel free to shoot me an email and let me know your squad's still undefeated in D4. I have not seen that myself, but JA still at number 1. Solid program, perennial power and all that, undefeated. So worthy of the number 1 spot in D4. At number 2, we got Indian Creek. I saw them a couple weeks ago at a high school classic. Bad luck charm gave them their lone loss this year. But that said, even though they got the loss in that game against St. Francis, I was thoroughly impressed. They got a couple arms that I was a fan of, and they truly swing at 1 through 9. So yeah, very good squad. Manor Lake Catholic, I don't know too much about, but when you're undefeated on the season, and I believe they beat Elyria Catholic twice, beat Homely Name twice, so I got a few good wins there. So 8-0. Shout out to them. Norton moved up, or actually moved down 1 spot to number 4. Jordan Keevan's there, I believe. Kyle, he's having a pretty good spring, right?
He is, yep. Just had a good outing a couple days ago. I believe I
shout out
got
to Jordan
on Twitter,
who was a Future Games alum for us, as well as a Senior Future Games alum for us. A team in my backyard, Napoleon, haven't had too many games in this year so far, but 5-2-1 on the year. Multiple arms, can swing at 1 through 9. Senior laden team. I'm a big fan of them. Obviously, I have them at 5, even though they have 2 losses and a tie. But a very good squad. Millbury Lake comes in at 6. Marengo Highland at 7. Galleon moved up 6 spots from 14 to 8. 2 big movers, NDCL, Notre Dame Cathedral Latin. I've heard some good things about. Heard they're a very talented squad. They beat Padua 2 times. I've talked about Padua a couple weeks ago, how big of a fan I was of them. So beating them twice tells me NDCL certainly has some talent. They went from unranked to 9th, and another team that went from unranked to the top 10 was Hebron Lakewood.
Love it. What we got in Division 3?
D3, absolutely loaded. You can see how many teams right there are undefeated, and you can see how many teams in there that have multiple losses. And even though they have multiple losses, I still rank them in the top 10. There's many teams behind these guys that have only one loss, but the talent at University School, the talent at Twinsburg, and the talent at Baden, even with multiple losses, we are all three huge fans of their teams, and to us, they certainly are worthy of the top 10 spots. But to go up to the top spot, Butler moves from 3-1, 11-0 on the year. Beat Troy twice, has beaten Springboro, 3 wins out of state. Hunter Richardson and the boys are, have it rolling and all that. So shout out to them on the 11-0 start. Coming in at 2's Defiance 5-0. Talked about them enough. But shout out to them for an undefeated start so far. Baden and Twinsburg at 3-4. Then we got a rival of Defiances in the WBL. Walpock, they're also 5-0 on the year. Both of those teams are actually 6-0 now. They got a win yesterday in WBL action, so still a chance of them on 4:30 to be both undefeated, and a classic that I will be at. Another undefeated team, Tippecanoe, 11-0. Shout out to them. I mean, 11 wins in a row is pretty impressive. They got some wins over Bell Fountain, Greenville, West Carrollton, Pickle a couple times, Xenia a couple times, Anna, who I believe is like 8-3, so few solid wins. Gilmore Academy, shout out to them. We've done a few high school classics at their complex, a very nice complex over there in Northeast Ohio. 9-0 in the season. They play up typically too, so they play a lot of D1, D2 teams. They defeated Berea, Mayfield, Bay, Kenston, gave NDCL their lone loss in the year, so shout out to them. I have Medina Buckeye in there, and that is wrong. So my graphic is wrong. Sorry about that, fellas. That's supposed to be Medina Highlands, so I'm guessing that's not going to I don't think people in Medina are going to be too happy about that one, getting the wrong high school. But either way, shout out to Medina Highland here. They are 7-0 in the year. Medina Buckeye is actually ranked 16th or 6-3 on the year. Sorry about the graphic mishandle there, but shout out to Highland, 7-0 on the year. 2 wins over Revere, a win over Hoover, 2 wins over Copley, and a win over Medina. So they're also playing up. So impressive start to the year by them. They moved up from 18-8. And then another undefeated team, Jackson, another team down south. I don't know too much about, but 10-0, 5-0 week last week. So shout out to them.
What is the back half of Defiances and Wapakoneta's schedule look like? They've only got 5 or 6 games in so far.
Yeah, they both have. Let's see, Defiance is 6-0. Walpock had a game on Monday as well, so they're 7-0.
So they're gonna have to squeeze 19 or 20 games.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna have like 5-game weeks, basically.
The rest
4
of the
to 5 game weeks every single week coming out. The weather, both of them have turf too, so it's not that they have natural grass and rain is what's caused the problem. It's just when the rain comes, they're playing at a place, playing away or whatever, and then the cold hits and they're playing at home, and nobody wants to play in the feels like 25-degree weather and all that. So yeah, they both will be having 4 to 5 game weeks and possibly a 6-game week coming up, but unfortunately not too many games have gotten in for both of those teams. But being undefeated is being undefeated, 12-0 combined, so good start to both of them. Hopefully the weather, gets to where it is today, and both of them will get in a lot more games. So, all right, moving on, we got Division II now. Amherst Steel, undefeated, #1, 2 weeks in a row. So shout out to them. 2 wins over Avon Lake, 2 wins over Berea, win over Elyria Catholic, win over Rocky River. So some solid wins. Coming in at 2 is a perennial power in Walsh Jesuit. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, didn't get to see them this past Saturday, but they have some talent for sure. Coming in at 3, we got Anthony Wayne. 1, 2, 3, and 4 actually stay the same, with Hudson coming in at 4. Lakewood, who I believe was preseason top 5, they moved back into the top 5 at 5. Harrison down in Southwest Ohio is off to a great start, 6-1 on the year. So shout out to the Wildcats there. New Albany comes in at #7, North Ridgeville at 8, and Loveland at 9 with Drew Orther, one of the more talented prospects down there in Division II. And then at #10, we got North Canton Hoover, who went 3-0 last week and has some big wins over Medina. They actually have beaten Hudson as well, and then Uniontown Lake, as well as Glen Oak twice. So a lot of big-time wins for Hoover so far this year. Any teams stick out to you guys out of this group?
Well, Walsh Jesuit, they're having a good year. They did drop one to Padua Franciscan the other day, and Sean Sullivan's start. I'll talk a little bit more about Sullivan's outing later, but that was a big drop. Anthony Wayne, who have they lost to?
Yeah.
Anthony Wayne's losses are Sterling Heights Stevenson at the high school classic, where Anthony Wayne's offense just couldn't get anything done against one of those crafty lefties that was, upper 70s crafty lefty that just was in, out, up, down, changing speeds and all that. They just couldn't figure him out. And then they also lost to Olentangy, I believe, in their first game of the year.
Gotcha.
I looked that up real fast.
I saw Loveland against Little Miami last week or the week before for one of Drew's starts. That's going to be a good team. That's going to be a tough team to beat in Division II, especially when Drew's on the mound. But they got some bats. They can do some damage offensively.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Anthony Wayne's loss was to Olentangy in the first game of the year, but they have a stable of arms. They got, I would say, eight plus arms that are 82 plus, 5 plus arms that are 85 plus, and then 2 arms that can touch into the 90s. So come tournament time, they will not be a team that teams will want to face because of those arms. That's for sure.
No doubt.
All right, now moving to good old Division I. Muller is 8-1-1. Did they go 2-1-1 out in Vegas? Was it
something like that? Yeah, the fact that they allowed ties out there is what are they doing in Vegas, boys?
Yeah, you would think, being out there, good weather, you would think they'd have lights at the complexes that they're using. Tie is not what we want to see, especially for the team that we have ranked #1 to start the year, and who knows, possibly by the end of the year, ranked #1. We don't like to see ties in baseball, but they got one. I believe they went 2-1-1 out in Vegas in a big time a showcase tournament or whatever out there. So shout out to them for showing the nation what type of baseball that Ohio has and all that. So they got to the championship game, but unfortunately fell to Valley Christian, I believe, if I remember right, California team. So,
yeah, I think Valley Christian's ranked like 14th in the state or something like that, or in the country.
Yeah, so I mean, going out to face teams that have twice the amount of games in and all that. Shout out to Muller, for getting that done. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the championship done and bring that back to Ohio, but I think they have another championship on their mind. But to do that, they might have to go through that #2 team that you know about there in Mason, who's certainly on a roll. They lost one early in the year to Oak Ridge, their first game of the year, and have won every game since. They're actually 11-1 now, counting the games this week. yeah. So you got anything on your boys at Mason?
There's some
They're on a roll?
big games coming up. Right at the top of the GMC with Mason is Lakota West. They got 2 games with them, one today and one Friday. And then
Love
Oak
that.
Hill's not far behind. Oak Hill's beat West 2 nights ago. So they've got some pitching that can really keep them in games and enough offense that they can get to guys with Oak Hills. West is having a really good season. I think they've lost 1 or 2 games, one in conference. Braden Johnson, their catcher, is just absolutely mashing right now. I think he's hitting 500. He had 2 triples and a homer against Oak Hills the other day. He was basically their entire offense. Tucker Wilburn's their ace. I assume he's going to go today. Wallace Dothan commit that's going to sit in the upper 80s with 20 plus inches of ride, and he's going to throw a firm slider in the upper 70s and mix a change up. And then they've got a number of arms behind him. That Chandler Wright kid we saw at unsigned senior games last summer at Wright State.
Yeah.
Pete, that we really liked, upper 80s with a firm slider. West is a really good team. They added Danny Hayden on their coaching staff this offseason, who was a head coach at Miami for 10 years. Is a great addition to their staff. Just added a bunch more baseball knowledge. Brad Geschwin, their head coach, played for Danny when we were at Miami together. Both of us played for Danny, so that's a cool addition to their staff. I'm sure the guys are learning a lot. He's a really good catching coach, base running, good hitting mind. So yeah, watch out for West. They could do some damage in the postseason too.
Love that. Two big games coming up this week, as you said, Mason and Lakota West. So we will certainly have our eyes glued on that, and looking forward to seeing the results of those 2 contests. So after Mason, we got Olentangy Orange. Talked about them a little bit. They went 3-1 last week, 10-2 on the year. St. Ignatius comes in at 4, moves up a couple spots. Their 2 losses this year are to Walsh Jesuit and an out-of-state team. Massillon Jackson, we've already talked about them enough, or a good amount. So they are at 5. At 6, we got Olentangy Liberty, extremely talented squad. Went 2-1 last week. At 7, we got Menor, 4-0 last week. They got a couple big wins over Padua, Brunswick, Riverside, so we'll see what they got coming up. Behind them is Marysville at 8, Lakota West at 9, and Olentangy Berlin rounds out the top 10, moving up 5 spots from 15 last week. So that's our top 10 in Division 1.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a chance to see Liberty yet. I'm gonna try to get out and see them once before the postseason starts. Mentor, Marysville, haven't seen those guys either. Obviously, you're gonna see West this week. Olentangy Berlin off to a good start. Jackson Bondersar, one of their 28s. I think I saw a video on Twitter the other day. Is he still with the varsity squad, Pete? Do you know?
I do not know specifically as of today.
That's a really interesting 28 to keep tabs on. Good player. I think we have him in our top 10. All right, moving right along. Dylan, nice work. I know that was a mouthful. Power 25.
All right. Well, Power 25, you can see the rankings right there. For the upper divisions, we combine Division 1 through Division 3. Try to do our best to figure out who's got the most talent, in the upper divisions and all that. Shout out to myself for getting Medina Highland on this one instead of Medina Buckeye. So I got that correct. But in general, you guys can see the names. We've talked about all these teams. If you feel some teams should be ranked higher, give us a shout out. You can, hit us up on Twitter, any social media, Instagram and all that, or shoot me an email, shoot Kyle an email. If you see any teams that you think should be ranked higher, ranked lower, feel free to let us know. Let us know why. We're all ears. We don't have eyes everywhere by any means. We don't, know all the talent on all these teams by any means, but we try to do our best to do as much research as we can and give you guys as much love as we can to all the communities around. So those are both of our Power 25s. Is there any teams that we haven't talked about or that you'd like to talk about more, either of you guys?
No, looks pretty good. The Beaver Creek at 23. I really like that team. I think they're going to be super competitive come postseason time. Who else? Tip City's having a good year. Preston Zumwalt.
I like in the lowers, Norton with Keevmans, Coach Peck. Shout out to those guys. They got a chance. They're going to be good this year. 7-2 start. So, yeah, Norton's definitely a team to look out for, too. They got a couple arms come tourney time.
Good stuff.
Let's move on to around the state updates. Any players you guys want to shout out? Obviously, coaches are sending stuff in throughout the week. Dylan, you and your dad do a great job with the Diamond Notes, which are on our website. If you guys head to the blog, you should be able to find the Ohio Diamond Notes, where Bruce and Dylan work on that each week, and there's a lot of really good information in there. Coaches sending in info on who's doing what.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to all the coaches that got all the information in this past week. If you haven't been getting any information, we send out an email every Sunday and Monday, just asking for simple information of how your guys did that week and all that. We use that information to put in the Diamond Notes, as Kyle said. Quick bullet points for each player that the coach gives us information on. So if you want to give your guys some love, just simply, fill out the form that gets sent out every Sunday and Monday. And if for whatever reason you're not seeing this email, feel free to shoot me an email or shoot Kyle an email, and we'll do our best to make sure that information gets in within each week's Diamond Notes for sure. Want me to lead it off for around the state?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to start it out with a local guy that I saw, Owen Graff. I don't know if you got the tweet handy for him.
Yeah.
But either way, I wanted to give him a shout out first because he had an outstanding performance. Struck out a dozen, faced the minimum on the bump, did not walk a batter, allowed just one hit that got doubled off later in that frame. The stuff was absolutely electric. It's the best I've personally seen him live. He did not go below 89.4, I believe it was, on the entire day.
Didn't drop below 89.4. That's awesome.
Yeah,
How many innings did he pitch?
Then all 7.
Went all 7?
Yeah, I mean, I was behind there in the 7th inning looking at every pitch, and they were all 89 plus, up to 92.3, if I remember right, on his second to last pitch in the 7th. So I don't know what he ate that morning, but whatever he ate that morning, I'm thinking he needs to eat that for before he pitches each game, because he was lights out. Shout out to Owen for sure. He's going to Ohio State commit, so shout out to him.
Awesome. Pete.
My first shout out, 2028 utility, Jacoby Balo. Outside of having a ridiculously cool name, he had a ridiculously good week at the plate. 5 for 5, 3 extra base hits. He had a triple, couple doubles. This was last night, I believe. Couple videos here. And then at Bishop Rosecrans. What was that?
I say just absolutely the worst video of all time, Jacoby. Let's zoom in a little bit here.
Yeah, should be better at tech than us, Jacoby. Also on the bump, went 5 1/3 inning, 9 Ks.
I assume this is
Rosecrans
or something.
So if you squint your eyes close enough, you can see Jacoby's big day. Well, do you got one?
Oh boy.
What is just infatuated by the video right now?
Or lack thereof.
I'm just trying to see it. My first one's going to go out to Chandler Taylor. Chandler was 5 for 10 this past week. 2 home runs, a double, go along with 3 walks, 3 stolen bases, and a sac fly. 4 runs scored. Alabama commit for Baden. Started off, I would say, slow for Chandler. Starting to heat up a little bit. Ranked 27th in the country for outfielders in the 26 class. Just a really strong week for him, and it's good to see him get going. That could be really dangerous for Division III teams if he catches his stride here heading into the postseason.
Right.
I say heading into the postseason. I mean, it feels like we're like 3 weeks away, 3 or 4 weeks away. Like we're getting close.
Yeah, the season flies by so fast.
I have no video ready, but
we all know what Chandler looks like at the plate, though.
yeah, it would not be hard to find because I think we caught a pretty good video of one of his homers the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you, I have no clue if you're looking that up, but either way, I will go with the next one. I got 2 shortstops to give a shout out to. First one, Clear Fork shortstop Jay Jackson, uncommitted senior. Listen to these numbers, folks. 13 for 16 at the plate for the week. Drove in 12 runs, scored 9, hit a home run, 3 triples, 2 doubles, and he also stole 4 bases. So
Have a week.
Yeah,
That's some baseball.
Yeah, pretty outstanding week for Clear Fork. I don't know who the games are against, but they play in a pretty solid conference. So either way, 13 for 16 plays, no matter who you're playing against. So shout out to Jay. The other shortstop to give a quick shout out to is Jacob Rolfe of Portsmouth, all the way down south of Ohio. He had a big week, 9 for 11 at the plate. 4 runs scored, 4 stolen bases, drove in 2. Also had a walk and a hit by pitch. He's won both of the games that he's been on the mound so far this year, and has 9 total stolen bases on the year. So shout out to Portsmouth's Jacob Roth. Pete, who you got next?
Yeah. Going back to the boys from Norton, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Jordan Kievman. 2025 left-handed pitcher, headed to Wright State. Norton again with an 8-2 start, big part of it. With Kievman on the year, pretty impressive stat. 39 strikeouts in 17 innings pitched. A guy that we've really kind of seen start to excel on both sides of the ball, pitching wise and hitting. And the pitching has really kind of started to elevate as well. So good to see that it's, again, translating in games, obviously living in the zone if you're going to have that many punch outs in 17 innings. So shout out to Jordan Kievman and the Norton boys. Keep it rolling with Coach Peck.
It's awesome. Ryan Youngless, kid from Keystone. He's the 4th-ranked sophomore third baseman in Ohio. Last week, 2 homers, 5 doubles, and a triple. Drove in 15 runs, going 9 for 15 at the plate. It says he was 3-0 last week. I just looked on Twitter. He threw a no-hitter against Fire Islands last night to move them into solo possession of first place.
Wow.
So, sophomore having an absolute year right now. So that's good to see. T3.
Yeah. He's a big reason why Keystone's moved from not ranked up to number 10. And after hearing that, might have to be moving them up a little bit more next week. Kyle, I got a video ready for this next one that I put in the chat here if you want to try to get that one up while I talk. Giving a shout out to 2 pitchers real quick. Defiance's Brett Ziffel and Cambridge's Dawson Geese. They both threw 1-hit masterpieces, each of them losing a no-hit bid in the final inning. So both of them came close to a no-hit. Ziffel had, what did he had? He had 12 strikeouts, walked just 1. It'll look like a curveball in this picture. That right there is a changeup. That is a filthy changeup. That one's not as good. I think that was a slider, actually. That's a changeup. His changeup moves more glove side than most changeups do because of the way that he grips it, but it's filthy.
We would call that a cut change.
What's that?
The old cut change.
Yeah, it's filthy. It's not many. I mean, most changeups, as we know, go arm side run, but his definitely is the good old cut change, as you're saying, right there a little bit. Let's see one more right here.
You see by the way he finishes with
Yep.
how he's cutting it.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty. But yeah, either way, one hit bid for him. Shout out to Brez, and then a shout out to Mr. Dawson Geese of Cambridge for also being very close to his no hitter. Geese struck out 10, walked just one. So far in the year, Geese is 3-0, 45 Ks, just 6 walks, and a 1.07 ERA. So shout out to both of you boys. Keep it up the rest of the year. You got any more, Pete?
Love it. Nope, I'm good.
You're good? You good,
I'm
Kyle?
gonna show some video here of Sean Sullivan's outing against Padua, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
We had Connor Holdren up there to watch him. Sullivan's a dude, man, and it's really fun to watch him pitch. He went 5 innings. I believe he gave up 1 hit, no runs, up to 96. Kid's in consideration for an All-American game bid this fall.
That breaker. His breaker is so fun to watch.
He's gross.
It's the breaker is good when you throw 97, and I start smiling when I see the breaker every time. So
No doubt.
shout out to Sean.
91 to 95, up to 96, breaking ball 78 to 80 miles an hour. Have fun with that. Just a really good player in our 26 class, number 2 ranked. Well, it looks like number 22 ranked according to Connor, which that is not accurate, but maybe an emoji error.
Is he swinging it at all still or no? I know
I haven't heard any
outstanding back
offensive
in the
updates,
day,
but
so
yeah.
I didn't know if there was.
Yeah, he
anything
used to hit tanks at the old PBR tournaments.
Exactly. So I didn't know. I didn't know if he was still swinging it or not. Either way, he's got a bright future on the bump, as we all can see.
We'll have another guest interview next week. Excited to announce that one here in a couple days. If anybody has anything for us, please feel free to tag us or send it in to one of our emails. Boys, I got nothing else.
I'm good.
We get into some games today, Pete. Who are we going to see?
Yep, gonna go see 2027 Super Sophomore alumni Grady Lance out in Urbana. Excited to see him. Really
By
good.
the time this airs, we'll know how that went.
Yeah, really good projectable arm. Excited to see where he's at.
Dylan Hefflinger taking the day off.
Yeah, not many days off for me. Already kicking myself for not going out to see something when it's 75, partly cloudy, no wind. I don't know what I'm doing. Not going out to a game. But that said, I saw a game the last 2 days. We're gonna see a game the next 2 days, and then 4 games on Saturday. So I think I will certainly get enough baseball in for the week, but felt like it was needed to get a computer day in and catch up on a lot of stuff.
Hey, we all need those, man. A lot of baseball coming up. Pete and I will be up in Cleveland this weekend, or where is Massillon? I guess it's more
Akron, Canton.
Or Akron area. Canton.
We'll be in Canton, Akron. We're going to catch a Rubber Ducks game on Friday night. Hopefully see Travis Bazana go yard. That'd be a nice way to start the weekend.
That would be fun.
All right, fellas.
All right.
Appreciate it. Good stuff.